Dum 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 bum 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 bum. Well, hello, welcome, whoever, wherever, whenever you are. Sorry about the changing focus here. I'm holding the camera by hand, trying not to move too much. Yes, this is my Brain Dead Quilt Encounters the Crazy Victorian, because I've got these squares in the middle that come from my Brain Dead quilt that I told you about, where I just randomly piece things. And then, having been watching all these videos about the Victorian crazy quilts where they embellish all of the seams, I got hooked on that. I've got 2 squares done here. This was the first one I finished. And the way I'm doing it is I'm doing the rows of stitching across the seams, and in the middle, wherever I have a plain cloth, I'm putting a motif to make the design. And the outer part is going to be sort of like a picture frame. So it's not a Victorian crazy quilt, because I am following a plan. I'm not following a pattern, but I am following a plan, where I take the crazy quilt squares, I had bordered them, and then put the triangular, the half square triangles to bring it out. And then the beige framing is going to have kind of a monochrome, similar color, but I'm going to continue to practice the different stitches. And this was my first one. I had a lot of fun with this flower row up here. All it is some French knots on top of a blanket stitch. This is where my finger is. This is a simple blanket stitch right there. I forgot what this one is. This is either a chevron or... no, it's something else. This is the chevron right here, this blue one. Can you see it? Oops. That's a chevron stitch with a little green embellishment on top of it. Now my second square, I'm getting better with the French knots, although they are not, they're deceptively easy. People who are very good at them can do them quickly, but I struggle, partly because I do have motor issues. I only actually have about 40% of my, the nerves to my hands. So I work slowly, and I don't like to work in front of people or let people see me work, because I'm clumsy because of that issue. But the end result, you don't know what it took to get there. Now this is where I'm stitching on right now, are these little 4-petaled flowers. There's actually a ground cover vine that grows wild around here. I'll have to pick a sprig of it the next time I'm walking and see it, that has 4-petaled lavender colored flowers on these beige green, dusty green leaves. So I just didn't really intend to do a botanical, but it turned out that way. This is more of the dusty green leaf, but on a different stem. I call that a huggy stitch. I haven't seen anyone else do this stitch. This is just something that I came up with. And what it is you do a feather stitch, which is the stem part, and then you go back over it and do a little bit of a lazy daisy around the feather stitch, which gives you what I call a huggy leaf. Now here's a lazy daisy leaf right here. Well, let me get something to point with. Okay, this will work. Where is it? Huh? Come on. There it is. Okay. This here is a lazy daisy with just an ordinary Lazy Daisy stitch for the leaf. This is a huggy Lazy Daisy. The trick to this is when you put the loop around, you hold your thumbnail across it, kind of like so that it lays flat while you put that stitch in. Then you come up with your next one. So I went like, did the loop, put the stitch in, and then I came up over here to do this loop, and I went back along the vine. And I'm going to put something coral pink or orange in here, something that will pick up, where are they, some of these colors here. I'm sorry, but I can't see where my pointer is. Yeah, something that will pick up these colors here will go up here. And over here I have some fern leaf stitching also added on to a feather stitch branch. And I have some 5-petaled Lazy Daisies with little buds. The little bud is made by doing 2 Lazy Daisy stitches and then stitching around it a few times to make that little bump. So I'm having fun with that. And I've got 35 squares. Where are they? Oh, I just had it. Here they are. Just a second. I can reach it? Yeah. There. I've got 35 squares started, ready to go. And I'm doing about 1 a day. So I'll keep you posted. Let me know at some point. I'll, if somebody wants to really ask questions about a particular stitch or something, we can talk about it. So let me know what your questions are in the comments. There's one more part that's going to go around this. Let me see. I couldn't find the fabric. I was going to do some of it today, but it's this fabric here. I have a lot of this because this comes from a pair of curtains. I have one panel that's completely uncut that I might actually use as a curtain in my apartment, but the other panel I've already, as you see, I've already cut into it. And this is going to be the sashing between all of these squares. Now this is a completely undone square that's just ready to go. I'm going to work on that tomorrow. But all these squares are going to have that beige textured sashing in between. I'm really pleased with this. I'm really glad that I jumped into the Victorian embroidery tradition. And I can see that I'm going to have a lot. I've already got about 3 different quilt design ideas that I have to avoid starting until I finish some of my UFOs. And I'm pulling them into a system I'm playing the dozens. Jennifer, one of the other quilt embroidery, stitchery, slow stitching ladies that I like to watch, I think it was Jennifer. Is her name Jennifer or something else? I can see her face. She has gray hair and wears glasses. I'm pretty sure it's Jenny. Anyway, she talked about doing things by number 10, setting up 10 projects and doing a certain, working 15 minutes on each one. Or on the first 3, choosing the first 3, working 15 minutes on each one, a 45-minute session out of the day until you get them done. That sounds wonderful, but I'm a little too disorganized. I have a system called playing the dozens, where I'm simply going to have a dozen of these little bags of quilts in progress, projects, not just quilts. Mostly it's quilts, but I do have other things that I'm working on too. So it'll be 12 projects, each one in its own bag. And I won't allow myself to start anything new until at least one of the 12 is finished. And I'll keep going through. I don't think I have that many. I think I have maybe 2 dozen unfinished projects in the house. So I'm going to do it as in the dozens until I get finished with everything. And this, as I said, this is a lot of fun. The thing that I like about it is it's forcing me to learn all these different stitches, but the little 4 or 5 inch strip of embellishment is enough to learn the stitch, but not to get bored. This part here, where's my, there it is, okay. This part here, with the tan stitching all the way around, yeah, I'm going to have to wash that pencil line out. I don't know why I did that so dark. But this gets boring because there's a lot of it. But everything else is running in such small batches that it never gets boring. I can just sit down and do one strip and then put it aside, then come back and do something like the corner leaf on this one. This here is going to have a motif. The inner squares that have the plain cloth, I'll have something that I'll put in there. I'm thinking maybe for this one I might do a wagon wheel design. It'll force me to learn some of the common motif stitches besides all of these row stitches. And yeah, that's my Brain Dead Quilt meets the Crazy Victorian project. I'll catch you later. I might come back on this evening to rant, but I try to keep my ranting videos and my stitching videos separate. So you can sort of look through the titles and decide which kind have got up there. One of these days I'm going to organize all of my quilt videos into a playlist. I still haven't done that, but I intend to. And that way, because some people, you know, they enjoy the quilting, but they also like to get into some topics. Others really prefer what they want. They're only topics or they're only crafts. They don't want to cross the lines. So I try to keep things separate so that I can keep everybody happy. So, yeah. I'll catch you later. Denise Matteau, over and out.